What's up? But it's Rob. This is Apparel Success. What I want to talk to you about in this video is why you need alpha customers for your clothing brand and how to get them. What is an alpha customer? An alpha customer is somebody who plays an extremely deep role in your clothing brand's journey by validating your brand concept, your brand idea outwardly to the public. And it's usually somebody who has a particularly high status that is aligned with your clothing brand concept. So as an example of this, my clothing brand represents rural Canada. Alpha customers for me would be people who are high status in the rural Canada subculture that everybody sort of knows, everybody sort of looks up to. And if I can get those people to support my clothing brand, to wear my clothing brand, to rock it outwardly, to wear it on their social media, for us to put it on my website, it enhances the credibility of our brand, it validates our brand, it builds trust, and it takes away a lot of friction that would otherwise be there. Whenever people are coming across your clothing brand, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening subconsciously. And one of the things that they're going to be doing is naturally assessing, how much can I trust this brand? Is this brand going to make me look cool around my friends, around the people that I hang out with? If I wear this in public with them, is it going to make me look cool? Am I going to fit in, or am I going to be outcast? Or are people going to make fun of me for wearing this clothing brand that I just bought? And so really, in order to understand this phenomenon of alpha customers and the importance of having them within your brand, you need to understand what social value is. This is one of those things that we tend to take for granted and it goes under the radar, but so much of the value that we get as human beings is social value. You can imagine if you were the only person on planet Earth, there was nobody else on the planet, if it was just you, how lonely and isolated you'd feel. One of the worst tortures that they do in prison is by putting people in solitary confinement for 2 weeks, and almost everybody will lose their mind. It's like one of the worst states of depression that you can get in. And this is just to illustrate this point of how important other people are and the perceptions of other people and how we interact with other people. And it's the same exact phenomenon of social value that is working within your clothing brand. You could make a really strong argument that your clothing brand's value and how valuable people perceive your clothing brand is in direct correlation to whoever your clothing brand has been associated with socially. So, for example, your clothing brand right now, just think about it in your mind right now. Imagine that Drake, Justin Bieber, and if you don't like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, one of these guys supported your clothing brand and was wearing it in public. How much that would just change the value of your brand and alter the perception of your brand. Now imagine you're like a streetwear hip hop brand, and not just Drake, but Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, Eminem, Dre, Nas, all these huge rappers, all of them supported your brand. Well, that's basically what a lot of these gigantic clothing brands are doing, and what they're spending money on is they're spending money on endorsements to gain that social value for their brand. If you look at Nike, they have 3 $1 billion contracts. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and LeBron James, they spend all of that money to increase the value of their brand. Beats by Dre, that headphone company, I know it's not necessarily clothing, but it's worn sort of as an accessory. Jimmy Iovine, the creator of all of that, there's a great documentary on HBO. I forget what it's called. I'll put it up right here when I can think of it later. He was obsessed with getting his Beats by Dre headphones endorsed by big artists in the music industry. They're headphones. Everybody who uses headphones listens to music for the most part. And so getting people who are super famous, high status in the music space was obviously super important to their brand. And all of this is really just to illustrate how important alpha customers are for your brand. And I know that if you're watching this, you're likely thinking, yeah, but I can't get like Dre to support my clothing brand or any of these absolutely massive celebrities. And I want to talk to you in this video about how you can do it sort of from the ground up without a lot of resources and just through the hustle of landing these things for your own brand. Now, real quickly before we get into it, Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd's a logo maker tool. You type in the name of the logo that you want, smack that enter button. Thousands of logos are going to come up. You choose a logo that you like, then you can edit and refine that logo as long as you want for free until it's perfect. This is a hundo P design I made for my own clothing brand using BrandCrowd. If you're interested, head over to brandcrowd.com/apparel success and you get up to 66% off at checkout. Okay, so the first thing that I'll say on this when it comes to getting alpha customers for your brand, if you don't have a ton of resources and you don't have a gigantic network of celebrities like most of us who are starting up brands, is that you don't have to go straight for Drake or Justin Bieber or these massive celebrities. You can start smaller and just approach micro influencers that maybe 50% or 40% of your target audience will recognize and look up to. And maybe some of these influencers on Instagram or on TikTok only have 20,000, 40,000, 60,000 followers, not millions, but they're still a great start for your clothing brand to start building value into your brand. And so what I'd recommend that you do is you reach out to these different micro influencers in Instagram DMs and you say, hey, I love your content. We love what you're up to. Whatever it is that they're doing, we'd love to send you a free hoodie or a free t-shirt just on us. We don't need anything in return. They'll likely just say, yeah, here's my address. You ask them what size they want and send it off. Oftentimes, these people will send you a picture of them wearing it when they get it, just to say, hey, thanks, got the hoodie. And then you just say, amazing. And you've got a picture of them wearing it. You can include that on your website. You can make a post on your social media. Sometimes they'll even just make a post on their own social media about your brand. And it's just the cost of a hoodie, right? What does it cost for you to make a hoodie? 20 bucks plus shipping to send it to them? It's really not a crazy expensive marketing expense that has tremendous upside, not only in terms of reach and getting in front of new customers, but in terms of just building and enhancing your brand value. And then as you get more and more of these micro influencers to support your brand, when you do reach out to a slightly bigger celebrity, they'll see, wow, there's all these really cool micro influencers that are wearing this brand. And maybe they recognize a couple of them and they say, this is actually a really cool brand. I want to support. And then you land that slightly bigger celebrity and you just keep building and building and building. This is what I did for my own clothing brand. I've had dozens of celebrities and influencers wear my own brand in the rural Canada space. And I not only experienced the insane uptick in results that we got from that right away, but just the feeling of like, oh, I can see how this changes the perception of the brand on the website and on the Instagram. I just could tell that the whole brand had a completely different feeling. And this is why another massive reason you need alpha customers for your clothing brand is that they help kickstart positive feedback loops for your brand. What do I mean by this? Positive feedback loops for your brand look like this. You don't have any followers on social media, you don't have any customers, you don't have any celebrities wearing your brand, because everybody starts from ground zero. When you do get your first 10,000 followers, it completely changes the perception of your brand and it makes it easier to get to your next 20,000 followers. When you land your first celebrity and influencer endorsement, it's gonna be really, really hard at first. But when you get one, when you go to reach out to another, they're not the first one supporting your brand. They don't have to stick their neck out to support your brand because they can see that your brand's already been supported before. And so it makes it easier to get another one. And it just becomes a feedback loop where the bigger you build it, the more it snowballs and it just gets bigger and bigger and it rolls down the hill faster. As you gain more assets and as you gain more value inside of your brand, it becomes so much easier to sell. For your clothing brand, what's the game plan for you moving forward? Do you have any alpha customers for your brand? Think about who they might be in your head. Maybe you can think of one person automatically that supported your brand already or that you have in mind that's really aligned with your brand concept. Well, write down a list of like 20 or 30 different micro influencers for your brand and then get inside the DMs and DM these people a free offering. Don't ask for anything in return. Just say that you're big fans, you think that they might like your brand, and that if they want something, you'd love to send them a free product. And most of the time, if they read your message and your brand is genuinely sick and it's aligned with who they are, because it should be, if you're reaching out to the right people, they'll agree to it and you're just increasing the value of your brand so much. So I hope that that helps. If you want to go deeper with me and a community of other clothing brand owners, you can check out apparelsuccessmastermind.com and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.